Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here.
And Rachel. Don't forget me.
Can't forget you. But yeah, first recording of the year together. And we got two stories to talk about. We've got the Green Lantern Green Arrow special. And then we also have catching up with Batman and Robin and with the new storyline all about this character, this villain named Memento. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with Green Lantern, Green Arrow. Of course, these two are well known friends in the DC universe, and this special is out of time. Wouldn't you say, Rachel? I don't think it really ties in with any current stories,
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
which is good. I think sometimes it's good to have stories that aren't beholden to decades of lore or even the current lore or storyline, as it were. You can just have fun, right? And that's what's happening here. So we have Hal and Oliver are on a road trip, and of course, they can't escape their lives as superheroes, right?
It wouldn't be a story if they did, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be much of an interesting story if it was just Hal and Oliver go to Vegas and lose a bunch of money and make bad decisions.
That'd be a story.
I said, but it wouldn't really be a superhero story.
True.
Yeah. So here we have. So I guess I take that back. I think this storyline does tie into earlier comic stories, right? Because I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, telling maybe the first appearance or first encounter with Deathstroke, as far as these two, as far as Hal and Oliver. Does that sound right, Rachel?
I'm not sure, so don't.
So it starts off Hal and Oliver. They get an encounter with Deathstroke. He obviously has their number. He knows about Hal's weakness to the color yellow, which has always been a silly thing to me, but whatever.
I
Because
mean, I
comic
have, I
book,
have a, I have a weakness to yellow.
you don't
Yeah,
like yellow.
yeah,
It's like your kryptonite.
yeah. Unless it's the sun. It's the sun. It's okay.
That's true. You do need that vitamin D, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go off into a mine, and Deathstroke
It's a
thinks it's a
trap.
trap. It's a trap. And Deathstroke thinks that he's got them, and so he's all pleased with himself.
Does he?
But yes, we see that nice little green glow there that shows us that Hal has obviously kept them safe with his ring. And then so they got some recovery time here, and it looks like Oliver called in some reinforcements,
Dan.
the Dinah, and then we cut to the Shadow Temple, and Green Arrow's doing his Green Arrow thing and trying to figure out what's going on, why these guys were trying to have them killed. And lots of comic book action ensues.
Tag team.
Tag team, Hal and Oliver
The,
together.
the Green Might.
Yes. So they are able to thwart Deathstroke's attack, and they drive off in a Green Lantern powered car in the end.
Because their car got blew up.
Sure, their car did get blown up.
It was a rental.
Yeah, so then there's a follow-up story with Green Lantern the Flash.
Because
And
that's the new target.
that's the new target. Yeah. Yeah, Deathstroke's doing his thing there.
Which, of course, Deathstroke claims that he never really was trying to kill them.
Well, that's right, I remember that.
He's trying to figure out why, who's behind everything himself.
That's right, yeah, because at the end of it, it says, the end, or is it? This is what I was getting at before. The story continues in New Teen Titans #2 in December of 1980. So this story is like one of those things where you come up with something that happened that wasn't necessarily dreamt up by the original creators back in 1980, but and what they did with the prequels, you do like a prequel kind of a thing. So that's what this was. It was somewhat standalone, but it did also tie in to other stories in the DC universe. Personally, for me, like I felt like it was a fun story. It showcased the friendship between Hal and Oliver very well, characterized them the way I would expect them to be, and they had their own little adventure. But in the end, it wasn't like we're trying to save the universe. It was just a tight, contained story. What did you think, Rachel?
liked it. It was a little adventure until somebody goes and tries to blow him up. Of course.
Of course. Yeah, so the team on this is, so Jeremy Adams is the writer, Lucas Meyer is the artist. The art is solid, very clean, easy to follow. No complaints with the art for sure.
No, it's good art.
Yeah. I think good characterizations for the characters, very recognizable, dynamic panels, not overdone, nothing that feels gimmicky. Everything flows, and it's just solid comic book storytelling. Same thing with the colors. They're solid as well. Not overdone. Yeah, no complaints there. Quite good. So yeah, nothing I don't really have any super negative comments, honestly, for this special. That was fun. Sometimes these kinds of specials can be hit or miss, but yeah, I think this is pretty good. All right. So that is it for Green Lantern, Green Arrow, World's Finest Special number 1. There will probably never be a number 2, so I don't know why they number it, but they do number it because everyone likes their number 1. Just in case. All right, so let's go ahead and switch gears and talk a little bit about Batman and Robin. So this is specifically picking up with Batman and Robin issue 14 and up to issue 17. This is the new story arc that started the Memento storyline. I think that's right. Let me double check here. Yeah, I got it right. So basically the idea here is that we have Batman dealing with something from his distant past. Goes all the way back to when he was like, a teenager, right? Basically.
Yeah.
And so...
Young adult,
yes. I don't recall if in the Batman mythos, if that's ever been something that was really explored. I'm not a huge reader of Batman, so I don't really know all the lore. I don't recall a time, any books that covered that time period with Batman per se. There might have been some one-offs here or there. And that's the funny thing about comic books, right? Is that sometimes the timing of things can get squishy, and different writers can come in and have different ideas and somewhat tweak the when things happened and such. But basically, Bruce went for a time to Europe, and specifically was tutored under, or learned under, some detective, right? Mm-hmm. With Scotland Yard. Professor, yeah. And so there was these serial killings in that time period by someone named Memento, and he's apparently using some sort of gas similar to Scarecrow, but it seems to have a slightly different effect than Scarecrow's gas.
It's a gravedigger, I believe.
Yeah. And at one point, too, I think it's one of the later issues, maybe it's 17, where like Batman's even questioning if it's real or not, because there's even like Scarecrow, is the character Scarecrow gets affected by the gas, and they're real. So yeah, there's still this kind of mystery a little bit about this character. Who is he? What is the nature of his abilities? Even I don't think I even have a true motivation. There is some hinting of a motivation, I think, with him. It might be connected to some way earlier killings, connected to some sort of cult. But then there's even thought, I think, too, that he might be the original killer from a long time ago, and somehow he's still around or something.
Yeah. Which we know is not the case. It's a decoy.
But again, yeah, it could be a red herring for sure. So I was just looking at who's doing the art here. So it looks like for the most part, the art has been done by Fernandez, which, let me get the first name here as soon as I can find the credits. There it is. Yeah, Javi Fernandez. Then Philip Kennedy Johnson is the writer.
Yeah.
But they do this thing which I like actually, where there are times when they do the flashbacks, it's actually a different artist.
Yeah.
I like that because it helps. They have the title at the top. It says London, years earlier. But it still is nice because it's visually, you see that difference.
Uh-huh.
Previous, present day.
Yeah. Gives a very sharp contrast to the eyes.
Yeah, it helps break things up visually, which is nice. And then, I think, Rachel, you were talking about as far as the art goes. Let me see if this is an issue that has that. There's some scene that you were like, what is going on here with Batman? Yeah. Yes. For whatever reason, probably deadline reasons, another artist, Miguel Mendonca. That's right. Is that Mendonca? Right there.
Where's the name? I'm looking. Oh. It's got an accent.
Oh, I didn't see the accent. Okay.
On the bottom. But,
oh, I did. I just now noticed
yeah.
that. But yeah, so different artists. And he was good for the most part. I don't like, honestly, when you have a regular artist and then you have another one that comes in. Unless you're doing like with the flashback thing. That's cool. But in here, it does break things up as far as the look of the book for the air quotes present day. And there's this one panel where Batman's slamming his palm down on a table in front of Scarecrow. And the anatomy, I'm sorry, is just not right for Batman.
It makes him look, and I know he's the Batman, but it makes him look animalistic in shape instead of having any human form to him. He looks like more of a blob with a L shape attached. No offense if anyone is listening that likes this panel. I get it. I'm not an artist. I couldn't have done it myself, but I think it just looked rushed.
Yeah, I agreed. So yeah, it's just it was. But otherwise, the art wasn't bad. But yeah, I prefer, if possible, to have a continuity of art.
Because everything else looked like stellar.
Yeah.
That it was just that panel.
Just one-off panel.
Looked, it just didn't fit. I was like, what happened?
So yeah, maybe just a little bit of inconsistency there, but otherwise pretty good there. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about the story because it is more of a mystery, so I don't want to like spoil too much. I will say though, there were threaded throughout this, not as much I think in the last arc, as far as the father-son piece. I don't feel like. You think that's fair? Or
I don't know.
Because they're focusing a lot on Bruce's past in this arc.
They are, but they're also allowing it to be like showing that he's not, even dads need help.
Yeah.
That sometimes that father-son relationship, that it's okay for dads to show their sons that they aren't invincible, that they are not indestructible, and that they can talk about their feelings. And I think that's an important message.
Yeah.
And so I think it's carefully thread into the story as well. But maybe it's not as much as like in the previous arcs where they were that spend quality time together. The kind of aspect. It's a little different than that. But I do like that this is back to the detective. This is Batman the detective. It's a mystery. He's trying to solve and get to the bottom of something, and he's really utilizing his detective skills in doing so, analyzing a crime scene and just doing different things to really try to dig into not only the current but the historical and perspectives and doing all those things. I like that part.
No, I agree. Batman is a detective I know there's different kind of takes on Batman, but yeah, I think that a core tenet of his character needs to be that detective piece, and I think that this series has definitely, in general, hasn't always hit that, but it has been more focused on the relationship between Damian and Bruce. But this particular storyline so far has definitely really honed in on that detective piece. Because literally we have the backdrop is Bruce's time in London training under a professor and who was teaching him how to be a detective, essentially. So that was pretty cool.
Which is part of the mystery itself. So.
That's true. Yeah, it's all tied together. So we'll see what happens. Issue 17 has this. I got this variant cover. I can't tell from the signature who this is, and I look into the credits, and then unfortunately, it doesn't tell me really. So I apologize because you are not able to. I'll see if I can feature this image in the podcast images, but I really like the watercolor cover. I don't know who this artist is, but I really like this style. But like I said, in general, I do like the art both for the current timeline and then the flashbacks as well. Any final thoughts, Rachel, about this storyline so far?
No, I really like it. I think that obviously there's some things that they're trying to do with it, the story, to make it, try to turn it into other things, but true storyline, the detective fashion, this is not always what it appears to be.
Yes. Yeah, so thank you, Rachel, for looking that up. So the very cover I got for this issue 17 was from Dustin Nguyen. Definitely I'll have to check out some more of his art probably. I'm sure it looks really good, but
yeah,
this is really cool.
It's very nice cover.
Yeah. It shows the versatility of watercolor. I think sometimes watercolor can come across as being muted, but I think he did a good job at that. All right, that about does it for this issue. So again, this episode, first episode of the year.
More to come.
More to come for sure. I'll try to continue to be more regular with these reviews of current books. And of course, we have any other events that occurred. We got Captain America coming out in February. We got Heroes Con coming up this summer. So got stuff to do, stuff to talk about. Exciting things. With that being said, I've been Jonathan.
And I'm always Rachel.
And you've been listening to Comic Talk Cafe.